And welcome to Community Farm. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Mascetta. You know, it's no secret that life can get pretty hectic at times. And the world seems like it could be going at such a fast rate that sometimes we can get a little stressed, experience stress in your life, or just have an overall feeling of being overwhelmed. The good news is that there are techniques that you can employ that can reduce those sensations or those feelings almost immediately. So I am here tonight with Dina Markind, who is a professional personal coach, and she's going to go over some techniques that you can use immediately if you're feeling this way, or that will reduce these anxieties pretty quickly if used correctly. So Dina, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for the opportunity to come on and talk about the work that I do that helps people.
Yeah, it's going to be so great. You know, one of the things that we've talked about and that I've learned about is, and I know it's probably one of your favorites, so we'll probably get to it at some point, but is the 3 W's. And writing down at night what went well. And I know tonight, one of the things I'm going to write down is having the opportunity to sit here and speak with you tonight on the show. Because like I said before, I think that the information that you have and all the knowledge that you have is just going to be such a great benefit to the viewers tonight. So I would like to just get right into it. I would like to ask you, what is professional coaching or personal coaching in your words? So being a coach is really that I get to be a collaborative ally of the people that I work with. Mm-hmm. So I have clients and they want to achieve certain goals, and my job and my honor is that I get to be with them, help them to develop what the goals are, help them to develop perspective about how this goal has meaning for them, where it fits into their lives, and then developing strategies for how to reach that goal. Right. Oh, that's excellent. And what are some of the things that people would like to see improved in their lives working with you?
So some of the things that I've worked on with people are their family relationships, wanting to not be so hot in a moment of intensity that they might want to have a pause. Another thing is that I've worked on things with anxiety. So there are a number of clients that I have that have some financial pressures, and they sometimes forget all the good things that they have in their life. And so try to shift them to remembering, and that does go into this 3 W's, what went well, and having an attitude of gratitude.
Right.
Another thing that I help people with is I have somebody who's working on completion of a paper, and another person that I worked with, who wanted to set up a business. She has a yoga studio, and she was kind of halting in her progress of setting that up. And so there's a lot of shifting of perspective of how can they get over a hurdle that they might have.
So something they may be really stressed about. It's funny, it's a yoga instructor that you want peace and tranquility, and but stressed about getting the business going, which is a real fear.
That's right.
You're renting space and you're making a commitment and you want to build it. So you would teach her ways of maybe switching gears and being like, yeah, these are fears, but this is ways to kind of think more optimally about what the outcome is going to be.
Well, the funny thing about coaching is I don't give people ideas necessarily. It's more listening to what the client is bringing. So a lot of times I'll do an activity where people, they'll tell me kind of what their attitude is right now. I'm anxious about, meeting the college payments for my kids. And they're kind of in this anxious mode and kind of tight like this. And I'm like, have you been there long enough? You want to switch out of this? And most of the time they do want to not stay there.
Right, yeah. It can be uncomfortable.
Right. So I'll say, well, just look around the room and maybe there's something that attracts your eye. In this case, perhaps it's the tree or the star, let's say. And when you think about the star, what does that do to this idea of meeting your college payments for your child? And they'll come up with ideas, etc. And then we'll try on some different perspectives, maybe the laughing perspective like you had.
Just some of the best medicine.
That is right. That is right. So laughing. And so it's really building on what comes from the clients, really. And they know when the perspective works for them. So.
Excellent. Now, let's just kind of rewind a little bit. I wanted to, talk a little bit about your background. So I know you were a registered nurse for many, many years.
Yeah,
so can you tell me a little bit about that? You still am, right?
Yeah. So when I went to college, they didn't have coaching and positive psychology as a major, and I say that I graduated college and went from one low-paying job to another for 3 years, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I wanted to have some security, and I always wanted to work intimately with people. And so nursing was a really good option for me. And I got a master's degree in nursing. I was a family nurse practitioner for a while. And after 20-something years working as a nurse, I spent most of the last 15 years of my career full-time, part-time actually, doing visiting nursing. And I got really burnt out.
Right, that's got to be,
Yeah, and several years, I actually quit my job. I didn't even tell my husband before I quit.
Oh boy, okay. we won't get into that.
Right, I'd had it.
But I'm sure he was supportive and knew,
well, he knew I couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
So
for your health,
right,
that was the right thing to do.
That's right. I had 3 kids in middle school at the time, which was a lot.
Right.
And anyway, so several years after I quit working, I was thinking about what should I do and where should I go, and someone suggested I talk to a coach. And I worked with the coach, and she said, "Did you ever think about health coaching?" And so I took a coaching class, and it was like, oh my God. It was like, this is something I can bring all of myself to.
Right.
And it really was coming home for me because I always wanted to help people and to work in an intimate way, more helping them to develop themselves and I didn't need that physical, helping people anymore kind of thing.
Right.
So that's how I got into coaching.
Oh, that's excellent, yeah. And you mentioned working with healthcare providers. I know there's a wide variety of different clients that you have.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit of this earlier, the difference between personal coaching or professional coaching, and I guess I can kind of dive into the type of people you're working with. You work with healthcare professionals as well?
My passion really is this burnout to well-being piece.
Right.
I have a lot of interest, and I've done a lot of studying about burnout and ways to help people to experience and live with well-being.
Right.
And I do work with healthcare professionals, and I work with other people who just have, personal goals. I would say that largely most of my clients are professionals in some way or another.
Right. And imagine today's healthcare system, I'm a chiropractor.
Yeah.
We're dealing with these things every day. I'd imagine there is a high rate of burnout and stress. I mean, things are so different even from 10 years ago. So I'd imagine it would be very beneficial for healthcare providers. Are they open to it, most of them that you talk with and work with? And I'm sure it's very beneficial for them.
Well, coaching is very beneficial, and I think in healthcare they really like to see the data. Right. And so that brings me to the idea of positive psychology, and I brought a couple of prompts.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
So this book is called Flourish by Martin Seligman, and he is considered the father of positive psychology. He was the head of the APA, American Psychological Association, in the late 90s, and he realized that psychology had been looking at all negative things, and he wanted to look at what are the outliers on the positive side, and to focus on what makes people successful and what is working. Right. And so positive psychology focuses on what is working. Right. And from the late 90s to now, there has been an explosion of information related to positive psychology.
Right, so then that brings into more of the data that they might be looking for.
Right.
And it just makes sense to go from focusing on the negative to focusing to the positive.
Right.
Right.
Right. And it's really powerful. And so I want to share one idea, which comes from Barbara Fredrickson, who's the author of this book, Positivity. She is a researcher at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and she talks about a theory called broaden and build. And this is so important because the idea that she found, she was looking at what is the value of positive emotions in terms of evolution. They always talk about the negative emotions, fight, flight, flee.
Right.
Those are protective for us, and that's helped us to survive. Yes, that's true. But positive emotions also help us to survive.
Right.
So when we experience positive emotions, like happiness and love and gratitude and awe, those are all things that help us to be more pro-social, to get along better with one another. They actually open physically our visual field so that we can see more instead of having the tunnel vision that comes with depression. It also helps us to be better problem solvers with this wider perspective. So I really want to convey to everybody that being happy is not just about feeling good.
Right.
It's about being a more effective, better human being, a better working person with your colleagues, with your family.
Right.
When you are experiencing positivity, you are just going to be more successful and do better.
Oh, that is excellent. What a beautiful way to state that. You know, there's so many questions I have, but I know we're going to just fly through the amount of time.
Okay.
So what I'd like to maybe focus on, because that is all awesome, is, you know, we talked about Oasis.
Yes.
And, you know, one of the outcomes we wanted from tonight's show was just to maybe give a couple of ideas to people that they could use, you know, almost right away. Can you describe to me what Oasis is and how they could, you know?
Yes. So Oasis is a program that was developed by Millie Greneau, and she's a coach and a social worker. And she had a near-death experience, and when she survived, she decided that she made a commitment to figure out how to live her life in a more sane way. So this program is called Oasis in the Overwhelm, Strategies. They're 60 seconds each to balance in a busy world.
Right.
It's 4 different strategies with variations. So I talked about demonstrating one because this is really fun.
Okay.
It's not just about stress reduction, it's about rebalancing. So I'm going to ask you to participate and the people in the audience also to participate in this. And let's stand up because it'll be easier to do when we're standing. Oh, sorry for the cough. So we're going to do a 4D, which is a 4-direction stretch. And the idea is that you want to say the word and stretch as you're together because it helps to shift your focus. So the first direction we'll do is north. So guess what we're going to do?
We're going
up.
up.
Yep. North.
North.
Just reach north and come back to center. And now we're going to go down south. South. Just reach as far as you can. You don't have to touch the ground or anything. South. Come on back. Back to center. And then we're going to go to the east. So take a breath in. Exhale. East. Reach out to the east. Ah. Come on back. And now we're going to go west. West. And bring it back. Okay. So that stretch, I mean, it gets the blood flowing.
Yeah, it gets some energy going.
That's right.
And breathing, I'd imagine, is probably important with that. And
yes.
You know.
And when you breathe with your activity and you say the word, you also shift your focus. So if you were anxious about something, or if you're even in a meeting with people and you know everybody, you want to get people together, in a funny way, you can do this stretch.
Right.
And you can change the words.
What a great way to start, like a board meeting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In a corporate environment. You know, I'm going to add one thing to that, which I really like as a chiropractor, working with posture. You know, when you first stand up to do that, chest out.
Yeah.
Little tuck in the chin and belly button to the spine.
Yeah.
You know, that gets you in a good posture. Start stimulating some of those, the nerve endings, the proprioceptive nerve endings. And then to do what you just did is a really great way to just kind of get a little energy started.
It gets energy, and I noticed actually talking about chiropractor that when you twist, you're also stimulating your spine in particular, and also the up and down. You can figure out what works for how you bend.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the receptors in the spine, when you're doing movement, it just fires up. into the brain and really wakes up the frontal cortex.
There you go.
And so I love that activity.
Yeah.
There's something that's really exciting. Switching gears a little bit.
Yes.
I think that was a great demonstration, and hopefully we'll have time to kind of go over a couple of things. But I want to talk about your ebook because I know you're really excited about that.
Yes.
So why don't we give a little attention to that? So tell me about that.
So my ebook is Vital Signs of Well-Being. And essentially, I take the medical vital signs, the abbreviation, and reformulated them. So in medicine, the vital signs are temperature, pulse, respiration, and blood pressure. And when we look at those, it gives us a quick view of how a person is doing from a physical health perspective. And I reformulated the TPRBP to mean take in. You have to take in what nourishes in order to flourish.
Right.
The T, that's T. The P is put forth. Where do you put your energy? Where do you put forth your energy? Into activities of daily living, your job, maintaining your home, getting your kids out the door, exercise, as well as activities that connect you to something bigger.
Right.
So like for you, it's meaningful to do these kinds of programs. It's a little extra boost of energy, et cetera, and service to the community. The R is relate positively, because really all the research shows that relationships are the most important aspect of our life for happiness. And the BP is be present.
Right.
So these are 4 aspects of your life. If you look at them individually, each is important, and all together they influence one another in the same way as the vital signs in medicine show an influence on each other. And you can look at these and have a quick assessment of how you're doing with regard to well-being.
And I know when you work with a client, you'll start with almost like an intake form. So will you get some measurements of these? Each one of those aspects in a way?
So,
and then kind of look at it after working together for a while?
Yes. So it's not exactly measurements in the scientific sense, because it's all very subjective. That's the first thing. The process is that usually I'll have a phone call with somebody just to explore what they're interested in, how sort of the chemistry of the conversation. And then if we decide that we want to work together, then there is a intake. And part of the intake is finding out what are their goals and exploring what brings them happiness, what are their big goals, what's really important, how do these things fit in. And we revisit them over the course of time. So it depends on how long I'm working with a client. Certainly at the 3-month mark, I might look into it again. And usually my clients are working with me for 12 sessions at a time. And so when we start a new group of sessions, we will review that.
Kind of review where you've...
Yeah, it's a nice break to say, where are you now? What's working for you? How do you want to proceed in the future? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? So it's a lot about co-creating how we work together.
Right, and you probably determine those things as you're going through the sessions. You may not know at the beginning, but halfway through, start going to maybe a little bit of different direction, or something improves.
Right.
Try something else. And how long do the sessions usually last? So they're mostly phone consultations, from what I understand?
Yes, I speak to people over the phone, and I work with people either for a half-hour call or an hour call, pretty much. And it's really client-driven.
Right.
So there may be a little check-in, and then what do you want to focus on? What do you want to get out of today's call? And there's a very sort of fluid process where I'm very open to whatever comes up, and then keep checking back. And how does this relate to that goal that you started out with? Because sometimes people will say, they have one goal about, let's say, helping my sister with something, and they end up talking about going, horseback riding. And believe it or not, it turns out that the horseback riding is a way that the two of them relate together.
Right.
It's just...
Oh, that's interesting.
It's so it's a special kind of listening and pulling things together, so that as my job is really to ask questions so that the client can see how things come together and the importance of different things. And, to use my listening to double click to emphasize certain things that I heard. That's really important what you said.
Right.
Did you hear that?
Right, right. And what would be so if somebody watching has some anxieties or there's something they're a little nervous about, are there some techniques that you could recommend to kind of just switch that fear into thinking of something different?
So another technique, which is actually from Oasis, and this is not necessarily the official version, it's called Q to Do.
Oh, okay.
So the first thing is that you notice that you're anxious. You notice whatever the feeling is, the physical aspect of it, and you say, what does this mean? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it, when you're talking about the stress response? And then you can ask yourself, is there something I can do about it now? If yes, do I want to do it?
Right.
You go and do it.
Right.
If no, there's nothing I can do now, it's just, this uncomfortable feeling that I'm having, then you can switch the channel.
Right.
As I say. So it's an amazing, it works amazingly. So some people, they have a channel that they often go to. One person, he said that he goes to the gratefulness channel a lot. That's his favorite channel.
Right.
And he actually said, it's amazing.
So it'll switch. So let's say he's fearful of something. You had been the college payments.
Right.
I think it's all of us can relate to that. So he'll be worried about those payments and think, okay, you know what? Let's be grateful about that my child is going to college. I'm grateful that I have children. I'm grateful, for all those positive things, and it switches the channel on his thought patterns, the negative thought patterns, to more of a positive way of thinking.
Right. And over the course of time, he can spend more time on that gratefulness channel.
Right.
It's really the noticing of when it's occurring and knowing that you have that choice. Knowing, where do I want to focus my energy? Is it, like, it's bedtime now. I am not going to be making money while I'm going to sleep.
Right.
I can't be worried about my bank account. It's not serving me.
Right.
I would rather be whatever. In his case, it's the gratefulness channel.
Right.
Would you have a channel that you think you might want to go to?
That's a great question. I like this one because I have a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah.
My two girls in the practice and my wife, and I do like that. I also like, you talked a little bit about the easy button from the Staples commercials. And just having that button of thinking that, things don't have to necessarily be difficult, or it may not have to take a lot of energy to switch off those negative thought patterns. Hit the easy button.
Hit the easy button.
And you start the pathway of it being better, or visualizing success. A ladder going into the a positive unknown of
opportunity,
open space and opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
Yeah.
So that's what I want the viewers to understand, that it doesn't have to be really complicated.
No.
It can be an easy thought of switching things.
Right.
The problem may be kind of complicated. I guess it's all in the way you view it. But starting with basic things to try to start changing those thought patterns. And as a chiropractor, as a healthcare provider, a lot of what I see, it's not necessarily just a physical problem. A lot of lower back pain or upper back pain and tension can come from emotional stresses. So this conversation we're having can certainly benefit the patients that I'm seeing with.
Right.
It's not always just about the physical. You want to look at different aspects. Emotional is a big part of it. Nutritional is a big part of it. The physical is a big part of it. So I think that the suggestions you're making is really great. I think people can use in all walks of life.
One of the things with regard to well-being, which I talk a lot about in my business, is heart of well-being, because you're at the heart of your well-being. But in addition to all those emotional things, the physical really is fundamental. When people, obviously our thoughts impact our feelings, and our physical body also impacts our thoughts. It's not a one-way street. Where we're thinking things and causing pain, or pain is causing bad thoughts. It works both ways.
Right.
And it really is so important that people recognize that physical really is fundamental.
And I think you're really right, because a lot of times I could tell in the beginning, I may have a little bit of work to do with patients, they may come in, oh, this low back is killing me. I've tried everything. Nothing is going to help. And that's where I have to start working on them almost mentally, believing that they can get better.
Yeah.
I had a woman in today, my sciatica. I just don't believe it's ever going to get better. Now she's feeling better with the work we're doing. So I'm like, well, we're heading in the right direction. But
Yes.
Maybe that working on that mental aspect, that may be something that'd be good working with somebody like you, or your techniques would be.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess it's important to understand too, from a professional standpoint, it's not necessarily therapy.
No.
It's coaching is different than therapy or counseling.
Yes, it is.
So maybe you can explain that a
So
little bit.
coaching is much more future-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
It's like present and future. What's going on right now, trying to shift perspectives. We don't do a lot of looking into the past.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's some way we can understand patterns, but it doesn't really matter, because in this moment is when you have the choice.
Right, right.
In the same way as we're talking about shifting your perspective, you get to do that in the moment.
Right.
You get to choose in the moment now. And most people know that there are other options, and so as a coach, I want to help them to recognize what they're experiencing, the option they want to take, and how they can more consistently move in the direction of taking the options that they think will be leading them to success.
Right. And I would think that goal setting is probably very important in your
Yes.
work as well. And from what I understand, a goal is just a dream if you don't have a way of achieving it, or so if you don't have a plan, I guess that's it. A goal is just a dream if you don't have a plan to achieve it. So I guess those are some of the things that you would work with a patient. So are there any, we have about 2 minutes left, so we probably have a lot of information, but any suggestions on like a goal setting technique? Or actually, we're just down to 1 minute. So we'll hold that for the next our next
Okay.
interview.
Okay.
What I would like to just, with our last minute, is there anything you'd like to add that we didn't talk about, or any suggestions?
I guess the main thing is burnout is really a passion of mine in terms of learning about and how you can experience well-being, and I really don't want people to suffer with burnout, feeling like they can't be themselves and physically and mentally exhausted and feeling of low value, etc. And I'm a resource for people.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you so much. This was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but you did such a great job, and I was so happy with having the opportunity to do this interview. So I want to thank you for joining us and viewing. And we will, if you have any questions, what would be the best contact information for you?
The best way to contact me is send me an email at Dina@heartofwellbeing.com. DINA at Heart of Wellbeing.
Excellent. Thank you so much.